more, right? Because I think at the end of the day, Web3 is here to stay. I'm 100% Web3 is here to stay. If not, I would cut my dick off, right? I think this is definitely here to stay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
GM, Karen, how are you doing this morning?
Welcome to the show. I hope everyone had a nice Lunar New Year. We just had like a couple days of holiday, which is great.
Did you get a lot of lychee?
Yeah. Well, that's the whole point of, sadly, the lychee is not in crypto just yet. So welcome to the show. If you're new to the show, the GM show has its own ABCs, is Asia-focused, builder-friendly, and cool vibes only, powered by Memeland, home of captains, potatoes, and steakland, and MVPs. So my name is Karen, and I'm your co-host, as well as the head of social of Memeland.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm Casey. I'm a builder, investor, event organizer, and Karen and I love talking to founders and creators. And we're excited to be able to bring this show to you live from the GM Show studios in Hong Kong, where each week Karen and I chat to the most exciting builders in the Web3 space. This is episode number 39.
Yeah, if you're excited to be here, you notice we switched to video spaces now on X, which is a broadcast. So you can actually see us now on X instead of just listening to us and giving us emojis. So you can still give us emojis and leave us some comments and share this video. So that's like the important stuff. So share it now.
All right. And before we get into today's episode, let's hear a quick word from our chairman.
What is discussed on the GM show is not investment advice. We may or may not have ownership interests in the projects we are talking about, but this is not investment advice in any way, shape, or form. And this is not Sir David Attenborough.
Okay.
All right. So as a producer of live events myself, I know how hard it is to assemble the best speakers, pair it with the best experience for attendees. Every city's different. Every audience is unique. And you and I have been to a few events together, like Token 2049 Singapore, and the Memeland team is heading to NFT Paris soon. What is one thing that you love about going to events, Karen?
I gotta say, well, the correct answer is meeting new people, but my answer is to eat the food there and try out different stuff, because like there are some crazy stuff served in like different conferences. Like we had laksa during Token in Singapore, which is amazing. It's like hot and like just like the best food you can have in the conference.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're right. Correct answer is networking with people. But I think I love getting the swag, right? We picked up some cool Pixelmon. They gave out some crazy stuff at that show, like T-shirts and pins and puzzles and stuff. So it's always fun to have that when you come back, have it on your desk, and just remember the experience that you went to at these conferences. But today, we're very excited to be able to compare notes with our guest. Everyone has heard of ETHDenver. It was first held in 2017 and has since become one of the largest Ethereum-focused hackathons and conferences in the world, if not the largest. The event attracts blockchain devs, and entrepreneurs, enthusiasts from around the globe. Apparently, 20% are coming in from Asia, and it provides participants a way to nerd out, collab, learn, and build together. It also has panel discussions, workshops, and keynote speeches. And this year will be the 7th annual event happening February 29th to the 3rd of March with over 20,000 attendees, 600 speakers, including the founders of Base, Near, Filecoin, and more. The Buildathon is the industry's largest hackathon, offering $1 million in Web3 bounties this year. Holy crap. Who is our guest today, Karen?
Today on the GM Show, we're so excited to have the founder of ETHDenver. John Pollard is a Denver-based blockchain entrepreneur, inventor, and futurist, and the founder and executive steward of ETHDenver, the world's largest Web3 and Ethereum-based innovations festival. He's also the founder and executive steward of Opolis, a digital employment operative for independent workers. Prior to discovering Ethereum in 2015, John spent more than 15 years in the talent acquisition, building multiple successful enterprises. He also brings experience in fundraising, investor relations, community outreach, and crypto economies, guiding his vision of democratizing employment and growing decentralized communities. In 2014, John was rewarded 40 under 40 by the Denver Business Journal for his contribution to shaping the future of business. Please welcome to the GM Show, John Pollard from ETHDenver. Hello, John. Morning, John.
GM.
Thanks for having me.
Where are you right now, John? Are you in your convention center getting ready for your show?
I'm in a secret location. I can't talk about it. If I did, we'd probably have some sort of swatting going on, and I'm just not going to invite it. So, we're just going to be sort of a little bit secretive at the moment.
Okay, all good. Hey, so just before we jump into the questions, a couple of specific ETHDenver questions. 20,000 attendees is huge for the ETH conference. We went to ETH Singapore, had about 2,000, ETH Hong Kong, about 1,000. How is the show shaping up this year? And what kind of tidbits can you draw, little alpha can you drop for the audience?
Well, we expect between 20 and 25,000 people from over 115 countries. This is about on par with what we did last year. For all intents and purposes, it's still sort of in a bear market in some ways. I mean, from a biddling standpoint, it's not, but from how much is the industry growing? It's sort of tamped down a little bit, but the biddle vibe is very strong. So we expect to see one of our strongest cohorts yet of projects come out the back door of ETHDenver, because it's always like that when the hype is low, the biddle signal is really high. So, we expect to see probably maybe even the best crop of projects come out. I mean, it's really exciting to see it all sort of form up. But we're expecting a big crowd, and it's all converging here in Denver starting on the 23rd.
Nice. Amazing. All right. So let's get into the interview. We asked the same 20 questions to each week's guest to get some insight into their day-to-day life, what inspires them, and what lessons can they pass on to the next generation building in Web3. Karen, what is the first question?
Yeah, let's do the warm-up. So what is the one app on your phone that you have on your home screen that not many people do?
That not many people do?
Yeah.
Well, that kind of kills crypto Twitter or X. That kills Telegram. Right. That kills Signal. That kills MetaMask. That kills, on my home screen. I guess I'm boring. I don't know. I mean, I've got like 20 different messaging apps, but they're all pretty commonly used, and I'm always behind. So I don't think that's rare. Yeah.
Do you have any special conferencing app that you use to organize your group?
No, we don't. I mean, we use, the typical suspects of, Telegram and Slack and things as far as comms go. But we've actually partnered with the community this year to build an event app. But I guess you could say I have the token proof app. That's pretty rare. So yeah. The token proof app is the app that we're using for the event this year for ticketing. So anybody who's actually coming to ETHDenver has probably downloaded it. But it's actually a Web3 based ticketing platform, and all of your credentials. We have chipped badges this year, so your ticketing will be on. Your credentials will be on your badge and scannable. Plus, it'll be available through the app. So that's on my home screen. So I guess you could use that one.
Yeah. That's
okay. Great.
Token proof is the name of the project.
Great.
Okay, number 2, what is the book you've given most as a gift and why?
Oh, The Four Agreements is probably my favorite book when it comes to, keeping it simple for people that are looking to take the next step in their professional development. I actually see it more as just personal help, like, how to navigate a complex world, both in relationships, business, how to, I guess, position yourself in a way to be successful in very, complex and ever-changing environments. The Four Agreements is a really level set, personal responsibility, sort of libertarian view of, like, take responsibility for yourself. Here are the 4 things that you can do to, like, actually, like, function as a highly capable person. And so I give that out quite a bit, because I feel like it's, there's all sorts of conjecture and stuff out there. It's like, how to get ahead and how to do this and how to do that. I find most of that to be too contextual, or not even in there accessible for people. Like, when a lot of successful people talk about their stories, it's not always so equal, right? The situation's different, the context's different, the country's different. It doesn't matter. Like, relating to some of these stories is impossible. This is a book that I think anybody can read it, understand it, and apply the principles in a way that's actually going to affect pretty positive change for them.
Awesome.
Great.
So speaking of influence, like, what is the great influence in your life? What is something that greatly influenced your life? Is it the book? Is it a person or a movie that you can share with us?
Well, you could say I had kind of I had a series of experiences over about 20 years of being an entrepreneur that sort of piece by piece frames sort of how I look at why I do what I do. And in the end, I think, my worldview sort of evolved to one of where I really focus on what I can contribute. So my basic philosophy is that every human being has a unique, call it latent creativity that they're meant to express, right? Everybody does. It's not just, me, or like I'm special or something. I think everybody does. Now, to some extent, we're all given opportunities to, identify, develop, express, and then share with the world this creativity, this talent. And so, when I'm thinking about what I'm doing or why I'm doing it, it's always framed from that, right? So how can I contribute my best to where the community receives the most value? And then the law of reciprocity has a tendency to kick in, right? So every time I do that, I've been greatly rewarded, right? So it's not like I do it for that reason. It just sort of happens, right? It's like, call it karma or whatever you want. But like, my success, whatever I've had, has been a byproduct of my ability to create value for people and communities. So I don't go into things with an opportunistic mindset. I think about it as, well, how can I apply myself to the situation in a way that would be valuable? And then from there, things have a tendency of working out, right? So if I'm doing it authentically, if I'm doing it with sincerity, and if I execute with excellence, it all is fine, right? So that's how I look at it. So, and then, there was a mentor of mine that always used to tell me that the greatest gift you can ever give is to set a good example for other people. And so, define a good example. What does that mean exactly? Like, I don't know, but like, for me, I find people are at their best when they're expressing creatively, their unique creativity. So I just try to set that example, just do that. And then when people are like, wow, what's he doing? And then if they ask or whatever, I'll tell them, but then they can go figure out what their path is that way. So, I don't know a ton of people that sort of think about this the same way that I do, but I don't care. It works out pretty well for me. And so that's what I continue to do.
Awesome.
Cool. All right, next question, number 4. Besides your smartphone, what is the one gadget or product in your life that makes it better?
My AirPods.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We got that before. It's connected to the whole thing, so it makes your life better. That's great.
If that doesn't count, I can give you others. But
Okay. Wait, John's back.
hey, am I back?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. You
Okay.
drop off a little.
Yeah,
Okay, you're back.
you put me in the backstage for a second. I guess besides my smartphone, I'll give you a different answer aside from my AirPods. It's a really good question. Man, I have so many little gadgets and tools around my house, but how many of them make my life that much better?
It's okay. We'll take it. We'll take it.
Okay. If I
We'll go to the next one.
I'll let you know if I come up with
Yeah.
something different.
Yeah, okay. So let's go into the personal stories. What was an early job you had that you learned an important lesson from?
An early job that I had that I learned an important lesson from. Well, there's a bunch. My first job was at 8. I was mowing lawns in my neighborhood. My parents basically told me that if I wanted any money, I needed to go earn it. And so I was like, okay, can I borrow the lawnmower? So I rented the lawnmower from my dad for $5 a week. And then, then I had to like repair it. It was one of those corded ones, with the electric cord. So I had I mowed over it a few times and I had to learn how to repair it and stuff. It was pretty, I'm eight. Then
Yeah.
I started tossing papers when I was 10. But I would say when I got that was more just hustling, I was just trying to make some money as a kid, because my parents wouldn't give me allowance. So I was just out doing the thing. I think the one, I worked at the mall at Foot Locker, slinging shoes, right? And I saw, and I learned, how to talk to people, right? How to add value to them, how to create value and perceive needs, right? So I had a really good mentor and that was really good salesman. That's what he did. It's his job. He was a full-blown adult, had a family, kids and all this, and he was selling shoes at Foot Locker. And I was just in high school, 16 years old, slinging shoes, trying to get discounts to look cool at school. And, this guy was pretty amazing though. I mean, he knew how to listen to people. And he knew how to ask questions and really hear the answers. He wasn't just going through the motions. And, this guy sold more shoes than most of the people combined in the region, right? Every month, he was just crushing it. And you'd ask him well, what's your secret, dude? How do you do this? And he's like, you just got to care about people, man. You just got to listen. So, I mean, I got schooled at that at a really early age. So I learned the art of consultative selling when I was 16, and he was a master at it. I mean, selling shoes, it sounds, who knows how to do that in that environment? I don't know, but
Right.
He definitely knew how to do it. And I learned. So as I've, become an entrepreneur, as I've had to raise capital, as I've had to share value propositions or get people behind a cause or whatever, it's the same thing. You've got to understand what's of value to people, and you've got to be able to align whatever you're delivering with what they want. You can't just be empty conjecture or bullshit. You have to actually deliver something. And so being able to frame your execution around what people want and being able to really deeply understand that is a key function. So that was pretty formative experience.
Great.
Cool. All right, next one. What does a normal day look like for you? What's your daily routine? What time do you wake up? What time do you go to bed? What kind of surface do you do every day there in Denver?
Well, on season of the event, starting in about November, I have 2 full-time jobs, right? So I Workopolis is technically my day job, and then I've got ETHDenver, and then in season, right now, I'm up probably somewhere around 4 a.m. trolling my email and my messages, just trying to filter out the signal. I got a bunch of strategies to try to like sort through the messages that I get, because there's thousands of them, and like the noise to signal ratio is pretty terrible, to be honest. But I'm pretty good at filtering out most of what I need. And then I'm up around 6:30 usually, making lunches for my kids, and then I take them to school. It's important for me to be present for them, so I make their lunches and I take them to school. When they're with me, that's what we do. And then after I drop them off, I'm usually on a call by the time I'm even driving home. I've got team huddles and things in the morning, sort of, project management checklist huddles, and just checking in on various teams and stewardships that need, checked in on. And then I basically launch into, I'm on calls pretty much most of the day, right? So I'm either doing sponsorship calls, or I'm doing team calls, or I'm doing other various things just with, community partners, investors, whatever it might be. So I'm pretty much booked, end to end. And then I go pick up my kids from school at 3:00. And then so every day I have huddle on my calendar from 3 to 4, because that's just my time with my kids. I pick them up, take them home. We have a little routine that we do, and then they go do their homework and things. And then I'm on more calls until dinner. And then we have some family time, and then they go to bed. And I'm up until probably 10, 11, just doing things. And somewhere in there, I'm usually working out or in the gym. I might even be doing that on a call and you don't even know it. Like, I'm not doing it right now because I'm on camera, but a lot of times I'm not on camera with some of these calls, or I'm just listening and whatnot. I'll be on my Peloton, or I'll be, literally lifting weights or whatever. And I'm fairly good at multitasking. So like, I can actually pull that off. I pretty much do that 6 days a week. And then, weekends are time for like actually doing work. So depends on what my kids are up to. When they're with their mom, I obviously have a quiet house now, so like it's fine. And I can just kind of focus. But then when I have them, we're out doing stuff and I spend time with them. So I try to make the most of sort of the work-life integration that I've got thrust in my direction, but I'm pretty good at it. So, workout and showers and eating are all in between, so like, I'm constantly multitasking. So I've gotten pretty good at that, and it works for me.
Great. You're multitasking right now, probably.
I literally am. And like I said, it's top secrets. We can't talk about it, but like, yes, exactly. I literally am.
Okay. So what is an unusual habit that you have?
Man. So the weirdest habit that I have is every morning my breakfast is a giant cup of raw eggs.
Whoa. How many eggs?
Between 6 and 10, and then top it off with some egg whites.
And no seasoning or whatsoever.
No, just slam it.
Oh, wow. You don't even like put it on a blender or anything. Just chug it.
It makes it taste funny when you do that. So I actually prefer not to have to taste the yolks. I just chug them. It's fine.
Wow. Okay. That's the first we've heard in the show.
Yeah, that's a first. Yeah. Okay, that maybe that will lead into.
I don't do coffee. I don't do bagels. I don't do pastries. I don't do carbs and sugar very much, like at all. So like, I tell you, I feel the most energized and like hyped up like in the morning after I slam my eggs, and people think it's weird, And
okay, so that might lead into the next question.
Don't you get like sick or something? Don't you get like? I was like, and I've been doing this for 3 years, and like I haven't once gotten sick.
That's amazing. Okay, so maybe for the next question, you can explain why do you do it? Obviously, it's improved your life. I don't know how long you've been doing it for, but I guess this is kind of a newer. I don't know if this is a new habit that you've had, or have you been doing this forever?
Yeah, well, I've I guess you could say in my older age, especially with having kids, I've been more conscientious of like health. And, if I'm honest, in my 20s, I was much more, quote, health focused for, I think, vanity reasons than I was actually health reasons. It's common, but I would say that, oh yeah, I really just want to be healthy, but really I was more just, I wanted to look good or whatever. Nowadays, I really don't, idgaff, about that. I'm not terribly concerned about what anybody thinks, but how I feel matters because my productivity is directly correlated to how I feel, right? So if I feel tired or, like I'm not motivated or whatever, I just, if I eat junk, I just literally can't function as well as I can if I feel like I'm operating, in a healthy way. So I shifted my diet about 3 years ago to, I tried full keto and I couldn't do it. I've got some friends that do like CrossFit and stuff and full keto and like, they don't ever have any fun, and it's like, I don't know, there's this sort of subculture about that just is a little off to me. So I went to this thing where it's 3 days keto, 1 day YOLO. So
Right.
on my YOLO day, I can do whatever I want, right? I don't count calories or carbs or anything. I just don't give a shit. Now, I don't eat a ton of junk anymore because I'm so broken from the sugar addiction or the carb addiction that like I don't really want it. Even though I can eat whatever I want, I don't feel restricted. So I'm not like starving myself, right? So I have my little cheats, like my girls get me these little bags of gummy bears that they know I like, right? And so on my YOLO day, I eat those. But on the other days, I'm pretty disciplined. I super high protein and almost zero carbs, less than 20 grams a day. And then I, with my workout and cardio and stuff, I feel great, right? So getting into that, and it's, people ask me, well, how do you do that? And it's like, well, I just don't eat for entertainment anymore.
Mm.
If I'm honest, I used to eat for entertainment, right? You go out, you have like variety of things, you want to try things and all that. And I'll do that on my YOLO days, but like I eat for function. So it's not like I have something against sugar. It just doesn't make me feel good, like it doesn't make me feel optimum. So like, why would I want to just like on purpose do that? So like, I just don't. So it definitely took a while to like get disciplined about it, because it takes 60 days to make a habit. And so the first 2 months was really hard. And I went through like some really weird kind of carb withdrawals. Like I'd never experienced anything like that before. And like my body literally was like addicted to carbs. And I had no idea, like bread, tortillas, things like that. Like you don't think are bad for you. They all have sugar in it, right? Especially in the US. Everything's got sugar in it in the US, right? So like now that I've kicked that and I've got my little easy routine, breakfast takes me about a minute. The eggs, it's like a minute shake, tuna steak, chicken, sausage, bacon, whatever. I don't care on the rest of the protein, but like I don't count fat calories. I don't count fat grams. Don't care about that. It's the carbs.
Yeah. Okay. So next question is, when you feel overwhelmed, what do you do and how do you relax?
Meditation.
Mm.
I've been doing it for 15 years. And the minute I started doing it is actually, you could say, probably the most formative shift in my life. So you asked that question earlier, like what happened? Like, so the simple output of meditation for me is it taught me to look inside for answers instead of looking in my environment or asking people for advice. I definitely do that, but then I take what they tell me and I discern it and meditate on it, try to decide for myself what's true, what's not, what I should and shouldn't do. And so as a result, my gut's gotten really good. Like it's really, my intuition's pretty well honed now. So like, I don't have a lot of doubt about things that I decide, I just do them because I feel like it's the right thing. And I've been doing this for.
Oh, we lost him again. Oh, he's back. He's back.
I'm back again. You guys you don't like my answers, I guess, huh?
No. I think you click something and then you're gone for a minute.
Well, my notification popped up. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I just closed it. Sorry about that. But yeah, if I were to give, you could read books until your face falls off. But like even the Four Agreements, like I wouldn't read it and then go, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go apply this. Like what I would do is I would really meditate on the concepts, and I would really like try to unpack like, okay, how does this apply to me? And like, is this relevant? Is it not relevant? Is it helpful? Is it not helpful? Why is it helpful? And I'd really, really get down to the meat of it. And then I would pluck a few things out of it and then try to apply them to my life and try to create a habit if it makes sense. And then go from there and rinse and repeat, right? So, but my instincts and my ability to like function is almost non-dependent on anybody else because of this.
Awesome.
Okay, interesting. All right, we're halfway through. This is number 10. What is one failure you've experienced, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I don't really believe in failure. I believe in you win some, you learn some. So hopefully it doesn't kick me out again. Sorry about that. I had somebody call in. I think failure is a somewhat of a trap of a mindset. Failure implies like the end of something. When I see. So for me, I'm looking at it as an opportunity to sort of, it's like a chapter ending. It doesn't mean terminal failure, right? So personally, I think that mindset is defeatist. Like to say, well, I failed. Well, okay, well, did you get the outcome that you wanted? Well, no. Okay, well, does that mean failure, or does that mean like, what's the learning, and how do we sort of dust off and pivot into the next chapter, right? What can we learn and take on with us? I found that to be much more productive than sort of conceding defeat. I've certainly had my share of setbacks, but I wouldn't say that any of it felt like failure because I choose not to do that.
Great. That's a great mindset. What is the one investment that you've made, and what were the returns, the best investments? Like it could be your money, your time, your energy, anything that you find.
Well, taking my own sort of like personal responsibility seriously for 15, 20 years is probably the best thing I ever did when it comes to my own ability to like impact other things. But if you want to talk about direct investments, I put my entire retirement plan for my corporate life into Bitcoin and Ethereum in early 2017. So that was pretty smart.
Yes. That's great.
That's great. That's the most, I think it's one of the most honest answers and the financial answers we've heard so far. Everybody has something else to do, but
I can't
I think if
say
you
that
did
was a
that,
bad
that's
choice.
definitely a huge win. Yeah.
That was not
Okay,
a bad
next.
choice.
No, that's good. Okay, number 12. Who is someone you look up to, and what is your favorite quote from him or her?
Oh gosh, I'd have to look up favorite quotes, but there's Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Like if you look at the ancient wisdom of Rome, or even the Greeks, just if you go back in history and you look at the sort of thinking that these guys put into life and life's lessons and principles, right? So whether it's there's a handful of guys that I look back in history that I really admire from a principle standpoint. So when you look at how they live their lives, they live from principles, not by emotion. So they made decisions based on, some sense of morality from their view and what the right thing to do was, and they stuck by it. Right. And if you look at their lives, it doesn't mean it was easy, but it made decisions easy because they didn't have to like figure out what the best thing for them was, or what the most opportune outcome was, or what the right thing for the situation was. It's just what the right thing is. So, anything that's sort of like speaking into like how a person can actually become more principled, disciplined, focused in their craft leads them to a place of being more productive and more valuable to those around them. So that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for.
Awesome. My favorite question is this one. What is the one conventional wisdom that you disagree with?
Don't trust anybody. So like supposedly we're supposed to trust the experts on things, right? So we got talking heads around finance or medical decisions or nutritional decisions, whether it's the what is it, the food pyramid, or it's the guidance on vaccines, or it's the educational curriculum you should follow, or it's the religious dogma you should believe in, or whatever, right? I don't believe any of that shit. Okay, like I think that people need to think for themselves. They need to discern for themselves. They should listen to all sorts of viewpoints and come up with what they feel is the right thing. Anybody who's just blindly following, quote, the experts is, in my opinion, stuck in the matrix. And, you know, you're not going to end up with your best outcomes for yourself if you do that.
Awesome.
Good point. I like that. All right. So you talk to a lot of builders in your show. What is one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time founder?
Have a contribution mindset. You know, a lot of our builders come without a team. They have an idea maybe, or they're just eager. You know, how can I be of service is the question you ask. Don't worry about what you get out of it. Just contribute.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a UX UI designer, you don't have a team, go find one. If you're a dev that needs to learn how to write Solidity, go to the boot camp and learn how to do it. Like, figure out how you can learn and contribute. Okay, don't think about what it's in it for me. Think about it as the community is your service project. How can I come, contribute in a meaningful way? And I promise you that the value will be 10x on return for you.
Right. Agreed.
Great. So for yourself, like, what is the worst piece of advice you ever received from someone else?
You know, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, but earlier in my entrepreneur career, I had this, you could say, a mentor guy who I really respected. I really liked him. In hindsight, my view on him has changed quite a bit because, you know, honestly, a lot of his advice was based in fear, you know, protecting me, or, you know, making decisions for the business that were best for the business, right? And so as I look back at some of the decisions that he would give me, or, almost lecture me on, because, I was young, and I didn't know, and I respected him. So I listened to him, and it was just terrible advice. I had a situation one time where I had to lay off some people from my company. And actually, in hindsight, I didn't have to, because the cash forecasting was flawed that I was given. And so I ended up in a situation where I was laying people off, and one of the people in question was pregnant. And he said to me, he's like, you can't be concerned about those things, because it's business, it's not personal.
Wow.
And it's total bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I've since repaired that relationship, and I had to go do a mea culpa on that one, because it was totally the wrong thing to do. And it's that whole piece of advice that it's business, not personal, is bullshit. It's all personal. Knock it off, dude. Like, we shouldn't commoditize our work and dehumanize our work to the point where we treat people that way without sensitivity, especially when the data I was given was wrong, right? So the whole reason why I was laying people off was flawed to begin with. That was based in fear. The people who put that together were being hyper conservative and not being really that realistic. And then secondly, the fact that I was in that situation where I'm letting somebody go who's pregnant out of that fear, being driven by some inhumane, dehumanized belief that it's not personal, it's just business. That's just unacceptable.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. Wow. Okay, here's the next question. Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, or Elon Musk? Why?
Elon Musk all day. All day. Steve Jobs is probably one of the most creative innovators ever. When you talk about business models and marketing, he's an absolute genius. Personal life, got some questions about that. Jeff Bezos mastered the art of customer service. When you talk about engineering, UI, UX, there's nothing better. But when you talk about merging the concept of principles with business and doing so over a long period of time, there's nobody better in my book than Elon Musk. So when you talk about making principled decisions and maybe even unpopular decisions and just in statements based on what he genuinely believes is the right thing. Not just the expedient thing for the business, but the long view, playing the long game. He's better than anybody I've seen. So I don't always agree with everything that he does, but you know that he's doing it sincerely, and you know that he's doing it honestly. There's no puppet strings or propaganda or manipulation or bullshit going on there. What you see is what you get, and I appreciate that a lot from him.
Awesome. Okay, let's get into the Web3 side of things.
Okay.
When you look back, what got you into Web3 in the first place?
A happenstance encounter with a gentleman by the name of Dmitry Buterin in San Diego, California in January 2014.
Wow. Okay.
I happened to be at a conference at the same time as him. It was an invite-only private affair. There was only about 25 entrepreneurs that were there. He was the weird Russian dude with the crazy t-shirt, and I was the only other dude not in a suit. Everybody else was in suits and real estate agents and all these other guys that were here. And like, we just struck up a friendship. He had kids, I have kids, you know, and we were talking about stuff and talked a little bit about Bitcoin, but not much. And stayed in touch on social media. Then I saw the Ethereum white paper, started asking about it. He sent it to me. I was amazed when they did the Ethereum pre-sale and the fundraise back in the day. And I started asking questions, and I reached out and said, hey, can you introduce me to Vitalik? I've got some use cases. And he's like, well, I can't guarantee anything. He doesn't respond to me half the time. And so he made the introduction, and Vitalik was gracious enough to spend an entire afternoon with me listening to my crappy use cases that were completely ridiculous. And I'm very grateful for that experience, because it sent me back to the drawing board and really sort of thinking about, like, what is this next generation smart contract platform thing? And I was coming at it from like corporate tech efficiency. I wasn't thinking about like a fully decentralized system. I didn't really understand it, but it put me on a journey. And then when I finally hit the red pill moment and woke up, I was like, oh, and that was probably in 2015. And so I was in a different startup at the time that, quite frankly, was destined to fail because it had a policing function that needed to happen inside the platform that we didn't want to perform. So we wanted this sort of open, permissionless platform, but then you had these conflicts that would arise that somebody needed to settle. And it's like, well, how do we do that? And then we got introduced to the concept of smart contracts, and I pivoted out of that entire business because I knew it wasn't going to work. So that started in 2016, and then I sold my original business and exited the startup that I was in early 2017, and then went full in on Web3. It was really 2016, but I really got my inertia going in 2017.
That was the first year of the event too.
We founded ETHDenver in the fall of 2017. The first actual event was February 2018. Yeah, so this is our seventh season. Yeah.
Okay. So you started off in crypto buying, but do you have a first NFT that you bought? We asked this of everybody because we were really heavily focused on NFT, but what was the first NFT you got, and what did you learn from it, if anything, and do you still own it?
Well, my first NFT was a CryptoPunk.
Okay.
Wow.
Great.
Back in the day when they were not a thing, I actually got one, and I was like, whatever. And then it went up a bunch, and I sold it because I was like, it's not going to be a thing. And then NFTs made their big resurgence, and like the nostalgia of those, just the provenance of those went way up. And I was like, oh man. So, but it's fine. But I've got a bunch still of like other things that are sort of old and legacy sitting in various wallets and things. But like, that was my first one. I still think it's kind of funny because like, I didn't think that was going to turn into anything.
Right. I'm not going to ask you the price point that you sold.
Don't ask. I mean, I did fine. I mean, it's kind of like people who get into Bitcoin at like $5 and they sell it at $500. And like, oh my God, I made a lot of money. It's like, It's like that, It's like, I made money, but like, not like I could have.
Right. Okay, so this is the question where probably interests people who are traveling to Denver in the next couple of weeks. What are you working on right now? Why now? And why you? Can you tell us more about Like what's going on?
Yeah, just dig a little deeper into the history there too of the show.
Well, the show is all about experience. We call it an innovation festival and not a conference on purpose, right? Like it's not, I mean, we do conferencey things, as I say, but we're the only large scale event in the world whose primary reason for being there is the hackathon. So Biddle first, right? So we created the meme Biddle. We did that. That was ours.
Okay.
We put into the ether in 2018 on stage. When I did the introduction for opening ceremonies, we put up a bunch of hashtags that we wanted to use on Twitter. And that was one of them. And since then, it's like 100 million instances of being used. You know, Biddle is like the rally cry for Web3, right? Versus HODL of the Bitcoin community.
Yeah.
So because it's focused on creativity, the concept is we open a big tent, put up a blank canvas. We don't charge tickets, and it's free to attend. We try to remove as many barriers as possible for anybody and everybody to come and express that creativity in a way that's meaningful for them. Build a team, build a project, earn prizes, whatever, and we don't want or need anything from you. And it's pure, just like that, for a reason.
Right.
Like we don't want anybody to be thinking, oh, well, what do they get out of it? Or, oh, what's the fine print? What's the catch? There's no catch. Like you come, you do your thing, or not. Don't care if you do or you don't. You know, you'll probably still get free food and free swag and all sorts of stuff. But in the end, are you really advancing yourself? You know, are you getting where you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? That's up to you. You know, this is an egalitarian, libertarian world. You know, like I don't care what you do, but we're just trying to give you the starting blocks to be able to become and do whatever you want and get the hell out of the way, right? You know, a lot of these events are, you know, oh, it's free. So if it's free, you're the product. Okay, well, in a way, I suppose that's true, but we're also a community-owned event, right? So we're not doing this for any particular outcome. We're doing it for sustainability. So we, you know, charge our sponsors what we feel like we can to make the thing sustainable. But other than that, like we're just trying to get from event to event cycle and make sure that we have a robust team that's competent, capable of executing excellence on behalf of the community. And the rest is up to you. Choose your own adventure, as we say. And we don't really care whether you do or you don't do that. You know, no one's going to be looking at you sideways or give a rip about whether you do or you don't. And if you do, you know, there's investors waiting to invest in projects and give you money to help you build, and teams that want to join up, and collaboration opportunities that happen. But if you don't, take your swag and go home, bro. We don't care.
Amazing. Okay, and I'm sure you're doing a lot of media interviews and things like that, promoting the event. And so my favorite question, and the final question we ask of all our guests, what is the one misconception about Web3 that you would like to change?
Well, I think that the industry in some ways has forgotten why we're here. Building a decentralized future is really the goal. You know, Bitcoin being decentralized money is as one use case. But the tent of that is much bigger. And I think the outcome of successful execution on that creates a better world. There's too much opportunism out there. We're recreating the same bullshit models and we expect different results. You know, people who talk about price and bull markets and bear markets in terms of price, it bores me because that's not the opportunity. The opportunity is actually creating a positive sum game environment for economic models globally that we can actually shift the value creation curves for everybody on the planet, and to create an open permissionless system where anybody can build a decentralized application. Anybody can launch a new product. Anybody can have access to these things. So if you want to talk about fair, egalitarian platforms that shift humanity into a orders of magnitude more value creation and accrual for people, we got to get out of the opportunism and competition and price talk. It's just a waste of time.
Amazing. Okay, sounds like the conference is already starting behind you.
All the secret sauce over here, you know, the crazy things. I got a herd of buffacorns running around behind me.
So, well, thank you very much, John. And just, are there tickets still available? Can people still get them?
Well, like I said, tickets are free. We are coming up on capacity. So like, if you're going to come, get your registration in, get it in. You know, we are trying to turn around approvals as quickly as possible. You do have, to get a free ticket, you got to join the DAO, which is legally speaking a cooperative. There's no dues or anything. It's just a compliance checklist.
Amazing.
If you don't want to join the DAO, you don't have to. You can pay for a $599 ticket, which is fine. Most people care to join the DAO and do it for free. But either way, we don't care. You can also, if you have enough Spork, you can stake it to get a Spork Whale ticket, which is our version of VIP. And that's 250,000 Spork, or you can buy one of those too if you want, but up to you. It's free to join and to come. If you want the accoutrement, then you can upgrade if you'd like. But other than that, get it in. I think the applications will maintain openness until the week of, what is it, the 19th, I think is the Monday. I don't know. I have to look. What is today? 12th, 19th. So next Monday, I think, is when we'll close applications. But it depends on whether or not we hit capacity.
Okay. Amazing. Great. All right. Thanks a lot for your time, John. Really appreciate it. Great insight, great story. And we're very excited to have you here. And good luck with the event.
My pleasure. I'm happy to be here. And thanks so much, GM.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. We'll see everybody else here next week. Same meme time, same meme channel.
Yeah, stay tuned to GM Show Official to see our past episode and find out our next guests will be. And see you all next week at Paris, where we're having the Memeland Pudgy Penguin holder exclusive party on the 24th. And we'll see you again on the show next Thursday morning, Hong Kong time, 9 a.m. Thank you, John.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.